Good morning, students. So today's class we will be discussing about spatial and temporal variations in surface air temperature and soil temperature. So how these temperatures will be varying over different places and at the same time with different time scales also. That means in a single day how it will be varying, and over different seasons also how it will be varying. Okay. So before going into these variations, first we must understand the role or importance of temperature in crop production. I think already we have discussed it actually in earlier classes also. We have discussed why or what is the role of temperature in crop production or agriculture, or in how it affects or how it influences different process. So in a quick glance, so it will be affecting your distribution of crop plants. We know that different parts of the world or different parts of the country will be having a different crops. Actually same crop will not be there in different places also. So some crops which needs a colder environment will be grown only in colder areas, and whereas some crops which need hotter environment will be grown only in tropical areas. So that you know the difference actually. So it affects the distribution of the crop, and it affects every process and every stages of the crop actually. So it affects all the process and all the developments, growth, everything will be affected by the temperature, and each stage also will be influenced by the crop. And the diffusion rates, so you know that gas exchange is most important for the different metabolic process to happen actually. So your gas has to be exchanged, that will be also influenced by your temperature. And biochemical reactions, so you know that there are different chemical reactions will be happening inside the plants actually. So that will be influenced by the plants, that will be influenced by the temperature. You know that there is a law called Q10 law or Van 't Hoff's law. For every 10 degrees Celsius increase in temperature, the reaction will be doubled actually. The rate will be doubled, means it will be accelerated faster actually. So that's what will be happening for the biochemical reactions actually. If the temperature is increased by 10 degrees Celsius, it will be doubled, the reactions will be doubled, means it will be happening in a very faster manner actually. Then your enzymatic systems also will be affected actually. You know that there should be some favorable temperature for your enzymes, and when the temperature is too high, there will be denaturations will be happening in your enzyme, and your plants will be affected. And high temperature coupled with humidity will be helping for your pest and disease to occur actually. And at the same time already we have discussed this metabolic process also will be influenced by the temperature. High nighttime temperature or daytime temperature, whatever may be, it will be influencing your metabolic process and your duration of the crops actually. So you know that the temperature is the single most important parameter that will be deciding your duration actually. If there is a favorable temperature is not there, or if the temperature is too low, then your growth will be slow, and if the temperature is increased, your growth will be faster, so by which your duration also will be affected. And there is a term called cardinal temperatures actually. So nothing but every crop will be having its own optimum temperature where the crop growth will be best or better, and at the same time it will be having a lower threshold limit and upper threshold limit. So the lower threshold limit means nothing but if the temperature reaches below the lower threshold limit, then your crop growth will be ceased actually. There won't be any growth below the lower threshold limit. At the same time upper threshold limit, so above which the crop growth will be ceases. So that's what cardinal temperatures. There will be optimum temperature for a crop where the growth and performance will be better, and there will be lower threshold limit and upper threshold limit. So below and beyond which your crop will not be growing. And diurnal variations, how diurnal and seasonal variations will be there in air temperature actually. So if you take a single day, how the temperature varies. So just before the sunrise, the lowest temperature of that particular day will be recorded, because re-radiation cooling and all it might have happened, and the lowest temperature will be recorded just before the sunrise, and from there the temperature will be increasing. After sunrise you will be getting radiation, and the temperature also will be started increasing. And that is with respect to the lowest temperature, minimum air temperature. And with respect to the maximum air temperature, that will be recorded between 2 to 3 o'clock. You know that even though you receive the solar radiation, highest or maximum solar radiation is received by noon, that is exactly by 12 o'clock, but the air temperature will be taking time actually to reach its maximum limit, means maximum point. So that will be happening mainly between 2 to 3 o'clock. So that is mainly because of the time lag between earth and air actually, that we will be discussing in the next slide. And from there onwards the temperature will be started decreasing. So once the maximum temperature is reached, from there onwards the temperature will be started decreasing, and it will be reaching the lowest point just before the sunrise. So there is a term called diurnal range actually, range or diurnal range. So the difference between maximum temperature and minimum temperature is called as diurnal range. So or diurnal range. So this diurnal range will be varying with respect to different places actually. So in coastal area the diurnal range will be lesser, whereas inland area the diurnal range will be more. And at some conditions like cloudy night and cloudy days also will be affecting your diurnal range. So if you that is the difference between maximum and minimum is called diurnal range, and average temperature or daily mean temperature is if you sum these two, maximum and minimum divided by 2, is called daily mean or average temperature. So this is represented in a graphical manner actually. Diurnal variation of the temperature. See, before just sunrise you will be reaching your temperature will be reaching the lowest point, and between 2 to 3 o'clock your temperature will be, maximum temperature will be recorded. And why this lag between solar radiation and air temperature means, you know that the source of heat for your air is not sun, it is through earth actually. Your solar radiation will be heating the earth surface, and in turn your earth surface will be heating the air actually. So to heat your maximum solar radiation will be received by the earth surface during 12 o'clock, it has to heat the earth, and after that it has to heat the air. So that will be taking around 2 hours actually. That's why this time lag. We are not receiving the maximum temperature by 12 o'clock itself, it will be received between 2 to 3 o'clock because of this process actually. So you know that your air will be heated mainly mainly because of this convection actually. So that will be taking some time actually. So this is seasonal or annual variation, how the temperature, how the maximum and minimum temperature varies this is with respect to Patnagarh with our college actually. So if you look at here, the highest maximum temperature is recorded during April. You see here, that is around 34 degrees Celsius, maybe 33 to 34 degrees Celsius. And the lowest maximum temperature is recorded during July and August. It is almost same, around 29 degrees Celsius. So your maximum temperature varies between 29 to 34 degrees Celsius. And at the same time, if you look at the minimum temperature, the lowest minimum temperature is recorded during January. If you see, the temperature is around 19 degrees Celsius. And the highest minimum temperature is recorded during May. The temperature will be around 25 degrees Celsius actually. So your minimum temperature will be varying between 19 to 25 degrees Celsius, around 19 to 25 degrees Celsius. So this is how the temporal variations, how it will be varying between different seasons actually. So the lowest temperature will be recorded during temperature will be as a whole, the temperature will be lesser during winter and higher during summer. And this is with respect to horizontal air temperature, how the temperature is distributed horizontally. So you know that latitude is the foremost important factor which will be influencing your temperature, that we have studied in earlier class also. Means at equator the temperature will be higher, and with higher latitudes the temperature will be decreasing actually. So that is the principle or mechanism, that is how it looks actually, that distribution of the temperature looks. equator should be higher, and towards pole the temperature will be decreasing. So but again local, like presence of water bodies and land and mountain barriers and local topography will be still influencing your temperature locally actually. Say if a water body is present, you know that there will be sea breeze and land breeze will be there. During daytime sea breeze will be there, during night time land breeze will be there, so the temperature will be moderated. Again your diurnal range and temperature will be affected actually. And mountain barriers, wherever it may be in higher latitudes or lower latitudes, if a mountain is present actually, that will be obstructing the wind flow actually. Automatically the heat will the temperature of that area also will be influenced because of these mountain barriers. And local topography, how your area is there actually, maybe some buildings will be present and some forest will be there, so those things will also be moderating your temperature actually. You might have heard urban heat and all, so that is mainly due to the urbanization actually. So like local topography also will be influencing your temperature distribution. So here last slide I have already indicated that there is a term called isotherm or isolines. So iso means similar, line means it is a line connecting the same values, that's what isolines. And for temperature it is called isotherm. Isotherm means nothing but the lines connecting the places are having equal temperature is called as isotherm. So that is to understand the distribution of temperature over different places in a easier manner actually. So that is pictorial representation of temperature in a graphical or line form actually. So that's called isotherm. Horizontal distribution can be drawn easily here actually. And next one is vertical air temperature distribution, how the temperature is distributed vertically. So this already you might be having some knowledge because last earlier class we have discussed about this different layers of atmosphere. So with increase in there I said with increase in height the temperature will be decreased. That is a normal process, everywhere it will be happening actually. Whenever your means your altitude increases, your temperature will be decreased. That is called lapse rate. That will be happening at the rate of 6.5 degrees Celsius per kilometer. For each kilometer ascent you will be losing 6.5 degrees Celsius decrease in temperature actually. That's for the normal process, vertical air distribution. And there is one more process, it will not be happening in all the areas and all the places and all the times. In particular in some particular days and times that will be happening actually. Temperature inversion, opposite of lapse rate is called as temperature inversion. What happens is actually with increase in height the temperature will be increasing. So that is what that's what happens with your temperature inversion actually. The temperature will be increasing with increase in height. This will not be happening at all the times, at particular conditions it will be happening actually. So if there are some particular conditions and things are there, this temperature inversion will be happening. So mainly it will be happening at these three conditions actually. First and foremost condition is actually when air near the ground cools off faster, means say suddenly because of some happenings or some developments the air nearby the earth surface is cooled off faster. So that time the next layer of the air nearby the ground will be little bit hotter. So automatically the temperature will be increasing with increase in height. That's called temperature inversion. So if the air nearby the ground cools off faster, the next layer will be hotter, so temperature inversion will be there in that particular area. And the next condition is actually from somewhere else or from nearby areas warm layer of air will be coming to the colder area, coming over to the colder area. Automatically colder air will be below, warmer air will be above. So in that condition also temperature inversion will be there actually, because the temperature will be increasing with increase in height. And the third condition will be happening at hill areas actually, where cold air from the hilltops and slopes will be automatically be at the lower near to the ground actually, and the next warm air will be there. So in that condition also temperature inversion will be developed. So this picture explains the temperature inversion actually. What happens, the above picture explains the normal pattern, and the below explains the temperature inversion. So in normal pattern what happens is actually that warm air will be there, and if it ascends it will be cooled off, and if it further ascends further it will be cooled off. So with increase in height the temperature will be lesser, temperature will be decreasing. So that's what the normal pattern. And we have discussed these three conditions. Whenever it is happening, the colder air will be below, and above the colder air warm layer will be there actually. So automatically the temperature will be increasing with increase in height, and again there will be colder air may be there actually. So if these conditions are present, that time it is called as temperature inversion or thermal inversion. So why it is important, thermal or temperature inversion? It affects many things actually. Many it will be creating many atmospheric or weather processes actually. So temperature inversion helps in creation of formation of clouds, and sometimes condensation may happen. So because of that precipitation also will be happening, and it affects your atmospheric visibility also, because fog and mist will be formed because of your temperature inversion. Automatically it affects your visibility, and it influences it affects the air navigation also. So that is with respect to the temperature inversion. So there is a term called heat unit or growing degree days actually with respect to crop. We already said that there will be three cardinal points will be there: optimum temperature, upper threshold temperature, lower threshold temperature. So by using this, for each and every crop we can calculate the degree days. So this is the formula actually that will be used to calculate the degree days: maximum temperature plus minimum temperature divided by 2 minus base temperature. So every day you will be getting a maximum temperature and minimum temperature, and for a particular crop you will be getting the base temperature. That means lower threshold limit below which your crop will not be able to grow. So most of the crop will be having a base temperature as 10 degrees Celsius. So in a crop also, with different stages also your base temperature will be varying, because if you take germination stage, that will be most sensitive to your temperature. So sometimes if it goes beyond below 15 degrees Celsius or above 25 degrees Celsius, your germination will not be happening actually. The same limit will not be there for vegetative stage or reproductive stage, where your crop will be little bit bigger, and it will be able to tolerate a little bit higher and lower limit actually. That time your base temperature will be varying actually. So the difference between average temperature and base temperature is called as degree days. Means how much you are accumulating above the base temperature. So that is called degree days actually. So by using degree days we can select crops. Means whether you can go for single crop or double crop if water is not limited. So those things can be selected, and your land use can be guided based on this degree days. And you can forecast yield, when your crop will be going to mature and how much yield it can give. So that is because you know that temperature is the major limiting factor, and that will be influencing your quality and yield. So we can predict the yield and quality of the crop by using the degree days. And if you want to introduce a new crop into one particular area, so if you know the base temperature of that particular crop, you can work out the degree days for that particular crop, how much it will be taking, how long it will be taking to mature in that particular area, whether that crop will be giving a good yield or not in that particular area. Those things can be calculated, and you can introduce a new crop if that particular crop is suitable for that area. So these are the uses of the degree days actually. So there is a practical class on degree days. There you will be better understanding it actually. So we said that there is a lower limit and upper limit for each crop actually. So if it goes beyond or below, your crop will be affected, I said. So we had two injuries based on the temperature range, actually heat injuries and cold injuries. So heat injuries means nothing but the temperature will be above the threshold limit, whereas cold injuries, it will be happening below the threshold limit of that particular crop actually. So what happens in heat injuries actually? So so there is a point called thermal death point. If the temperature is reaching between 50 to 60 degrees Celsius, your cells will be started dying, your crop will be dead actually. That is called thermal death point. In a particular day, if you receive 50 to 60 degrees Celsius, your crop will be dead. Even though if you get favorable temperature the next day, your crop will not be able to grow further actually, because your cells are dead and you cannot, your crop will not be able to come back. So that is what thermal death point. So what happens at higher temperature actually? So desiccation of plants. Desiccation means drying. Your water will be lost, and sometimes stomata may be closed, or root activity may be affected. So because of these things, your metabolisms will be stopped, and automatically your leaf or your plant will be completely drying actually. Desiccation of plants will be happening, and your physiological activities, all your physiological or metabolic process will be stopped when the temperature is too high or too low. And it increases respiration. The high temperature will always be increasing your respiration. So most of your energy will be spent on respiration. It will not be going for reproduction or economic part. Automatically your yield will be decreased actually. So whenever the respiration is increased, most of your energy will be spent on respiration rather than reproduction actually. So automatically your yield will be decreased. So there is two heat injuries, sun scald and stem griddle. Sun scald means nothing but because of the higher temperature, the area near the ground, means just above the ground, will be affected. Your bark will be affected actually, like necrosis will be happening at the bark actually. So it will be completely dried, so automatically your crop will be dead actually. So that's what sun scald. And there is one more term called stem griddle actually. This is exactly happening at the collar region of the stem actually. Collar region means where your soil and plant stem meets. That's what collar region actually. There will be bulging of the stems will be there. So because of that, your crop will be affected actually. So that's what stem griddle. Here you can see in the second picture actually. Left side, if you see, there is small bulge is there. That is because of the stem griddle, because of the heat injury actually. The next thing is cold injury. So there are four types of cold injuries there. Cold injuries are there: chilling injury, freezing injury, suffocation, and heaving. So chilling injury is nothing but say a crop is grown in a hot areas, and if it is suddenly brought to a cold area, chilling injury will be happening actually. Means your cell will be dead, and automatically your crop will be affected because of too much cold. The crop will not be able to tolerate that cold actually. Then the freezing injury. Freezing injury is nothing but you know that your plants contains water actually. This water will be when the temperature is too low, that water will be freezed inside actually. Automatically movement will not be there, means your nutrient will not be, your complete water will be like in ice form. Automatically your death will be happening to your plant actually. Then the next one is suffocation. Suffocation means, as the term itself indicates, suffocates. There won't be any gaseous exchange between earth and means when the soil is completely covered by the snow, there won't be any gaseous exchange actually. Your plants will be suffocated. So that time also your plant will be dead. And heaving injury. Heaving injury is nothing but because of this ice, when completely covered by ice, your root will be uplifted automatically actually. So that's what heaving injury. So if you look at the first picture, that is called first and second. First picture will be like first and second will be indicating chilling and freezing injury. Third picture will be indicating your heaving. Completely your root will be coming out of the soil actually when soil is completely covered by the ice. So that's what cold injuries. And this is what cardinal temperature, what I said. So every crop will be having its optimum temperature, minimum temperature, and maximum temperature. So if you look at wheat, if you have the temperature of 25 degrees Celsius, your crop will be performing in a better manner. Your yield and your yield will be better and your crop will be performing in a better manner. And if the temperature is up to 3 to 4.5 degrees Celsius, your crop will be existing. Actually, it will be somehow it will be existing, and if it is if the temperature falls below 3 degrees Celsius, then your growth will be ceased. Actually, same way, if it goes beyond 30 degrees Celsius, also your growth will be ceased for wheat. And for each and every crop, this temperature is different. Actually, that's what cardinal points or cardinal temperature points: lower threshold limit, upper threshold limit, optimum temperature. So that is with respect to the air temperature, how it influences the plants, how it is varying over different places, how it is varying over different time scales that we have studied. And the next one is soil temperature. So in last practical class already we have seen how what is the importance of soil temperature, how it influences your agricultural crops. Whatever I said, I don't want to discuss it again here. We can directly go to the factors affecting the soil temperature. What are the factors which will be influencing your soil temperature? So there are two main factors that will be influencing your soil temperature: meteorological factors and soil factors. So meteorological factors are like solar radiation, wind, evaporation and condensation, rainfall. These are all the factors which will be influencing your soil temperature. So you know that solar radiation. So how solar radiation influences the soil temperature? If the solar radiation is more, your soil temperature also will be more in a particular day, and the availability of the solar radiation is less, automatically your temperature also will be less. So if you look at the different seasons, you may understand. Actually, winter your solar radiation will be lesser, automatically your soil temperature also will be lesser. So like your solar radiation will be influencing your soil temperature. Then the wind. So you know that movement of air from one place to another, automatically it will be moderating your heat, actually, by which your soil temperature also will be moderated. Then the evaporation and condensation. So evaporation will be means loss of water from the soil is called as evaporation. So that time cooling will be happening. And the condensation means water vapor is condensed inside the soil, temperature will be released, energy will be released, that time the temperature will be increased. So evaporation will be reducing the soil temperature, whereas condensation will be increasing the soil temperature. And rainfall. Rainfall, sometimes it will be increasing the temperature, sometimes it will be decreasing the soil temperature. That is based on the situations. Say some areas that is completely covered by the ice, that time the temperature will be too low, maybe in minus also. If you get rainfall during that particular situation, maybe the temperature will be increased, the soil temperature will be increased a little bit. And whereas in particular area the temperature is too high, soil temperature is too high, and if you receive rainfall during that situation, your temperature will be decreased. So based on the situation, your rainfall will be increasing or decreasing the soil temperature. And next factors are soil factors. And there are different factors are there: aspect and slope, soil texture, tillage, organic matter, soil moisture. We will discuss one by one. So first and foremost thing is aspect and slope. So you know that slope is the major factors which will be deciding the soil temperature of the particular place, actually. So if you look at, already we have discussed this, actually. The southern slope in northern hemisphere, southern part of the slope will be having the higher temperature, and still if you want to specific, southwest slope will be having warmer temperature compared to the southeast slope. So people might be thinking that southeast will be more warmer than southwest. It is not that. Southwest will be more warmer than southeast, because you know that southeast means that is during the morning time it will be exposed to the sun. You know that during the night time and all, it will be re-radiation will be happening, and it will be, the surface will be too cold. Sometimes dew also may be there in the surface area. So whatever the energy it is received, it has to freshly heat the soil, actually. So it will be taking too much time, actually, to heat up the soil, actually. So but when it comes to southwest, during the morning hours dew might have evaporated because of this conduction and other things, and when it is exposed to the sun, that will be mostly used to heat up the soil actually. So it will be more warmer compared to the southeast slope. Southwest slope will be more warmer. And soil texture. So you know that there are different types of soils are there. So we need not specify the soil name, just take it as light soil and heavy soil. Light soil means pore spaces will be too higher, heavy soils means pore spaces will be too lower actually. So sand soil will be light, clay soil will be heavier. So thermal conductivity also will be different, heat capacity also will be different for these soils actually. So this sand, what happens is actually it will be heated up in a faster manner, but the conduction will be less actually, because you know that pore spaces are too much, and conduction will be less for this soil actually. During the daytime, even though the surface is heated up faster, the subsurface will be heated up very slower because of poor conductivity, poor thermal conductivity. And whereas if you look at the heavy soils like clay, it will be thermal conductivity will be more actually. So once the surface is heated, it will be conducting the same heat to the subsurface in a faster manner actually. So that is the difference between this different texture of the soils actually. And again, radiational cooling also will be faster in light soil. Radiational cooling means it will be during daytime it will be absorbing the solar radiation, during night time it has to release the solar radiation to the atmosphere actually. So your heavy or lighter soils will be releasing the heat into the atmosphere very faster, that means it will be cooled very faster, whereas your heavy soils will be cooled very slowly. So your range also will be affected because of this actually. So you know that re-radiation cooling is too faster means the temperature will be too lower, and during daytime the temperature will be too hot, during night time the temperature will be too low, automatically your range will be higher actually. The difference between maximum and minimum temperature will be higher, whereas in light soils that will not be the case actually. Your heating also will be slow and cooling also will be slow, automatically the range will be lesser. And again with rough surface and smooth surface also your soil temperature will be varying. So already this we have discussed in the earlier classes also in albedo part actually. So next factor is tillage. Tillage means nothing but you will be plowing the soil now with tractor or bullock cart, you will be plowing the soil. So that's what that will be always influencing your heat flow actually. So when you are tilling your surface soil, your heat flow will be affected actually. That will be acting like a mulch. Your surface soil will be acting like a mulch, and your conductivity, thermal conductivity will be very poor in tilled soil. So automatically it will be affecting the diurnal variation. And daytime it will be very hot, night time it will be very cold, because only surface will be heated up. And organic matter, that also will be influencing your soil temperature actually. If there is too much organic matter in a soil, automatically your heat capacity and thermal conductivity will be lesser actually, because you know that it will be having higher water holding capacity, automatically your soil temperature also will be optimum. And one more thing is that the color of the soil, when you have more organic matter, automatically your color will be black, but that will be increasing your absorption of the solar radiation into the soil. So by this your organic matter also will be influencing your soil temperature. And the next factor is soil moisture, that you know that actually if there is more soil moisture there will be lesser temperature, and if there is less, or if the soil is too dry, your temperature will be too high. And diurnal variation, this we have discussed in our practical class detailedly, with different depth, with different time, how it will be varying, that you can look at the graph. I don't want to discuss it here again. And seasonal variations, so you know that summer the temperature will be too high, and the diurnal variations also will be different, and with the different depth also the temperature will be little bit high actually. And whereas in winter the temperature will be too low, it will not be affecting the deeper depth, so automatically your temperature will be lesser when compared to summer. and if particular field is completely covered by plant canopy, again your seasonal variations will be different actually, because it will not be able to solar radiation will not be able to hit the earth automatically. Your temperature will be little bit, soil temperature will be little bit lesser. So when your field is completely covered by plant canopy, your seasonal variations will not be there much, it will be very small. So that's all for this class, and if you have any clarifications you can just mail me, or you can just raise your queries in Moodle also, there I will just answer. Thank you.